It's another exciting new week where we take a look at the world of business. This is Moolah Insider, and it's all about personal finance and your relationship with money. My name is Margaret Wahito. This week started on a rather sad note following the demise of the renowned industrialist and entrepreneur Dr. Kirubi. Dr. Kirubi was named the second richest Kenyan by Forbes in 2011. He also made it to the top 40 ranking Africa's richest, having listed at position 31 with an estimated net worth of $300 million. Some of the companies he chaired included Capital Group Limited, Hako Industries Limited, Kiruma International Limited, International House Limited, Nairobi Bottlers Limited, Sandvik East Africa Limited, and DHL Kenya. As Moolah Insider, our condolences goes to the family, friends, and the entire business community at large. The price of super petrol increased slightly by 77 cents in the month of June, while the price of diesel and kerosene remained unchanged. In Nairobi, super petrol will now retail at 127 shillings and 14 cents, diesel at 107 shillings and 66 cents, and kerosene at 97 shillings and 85 cents. In Mombasa, a litre of super petrol is selling at 124 shillings and 72 cents, diesel at 105 and 27 cents, and kerosene at 95 shillings and 46 cents. Let's now have a look at how the fuel pump prices will be selling in other major cities across the country. Suppliers to supermarket and shop owners have a reason to smile after Competition Authority of Kenya compelled retailers to pay interest on any delayed payments. The new rules comes amid increased cases of default that have put many suppliers in deep financial problems. CAK says the interest will be agreed upon during contract signing between the retailers and suppliers. A number of large retailers, including Nakumatt and Tuskys, have in recent years hit the rocks with more than 30 billion shillings in unpaid dues to their suppliers, putting a large number of them out of business. Now, did you know it can cost you up to 1 million shillings to treat COVID-19 under intensive care unit? It can also cost you up to 2,000 shillings a day to manage COVID-19 under home-based care. This week, we look at how COVID-19 has left many families financially drained. Mercy Milanoi tells us more.
As the country continues to grapple with the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, one of the major causes of concern has been the cost of managing and treating the disease. The cost of treating COVID-19 has pushed many to financial distress, as it can go as high as 1 million shillings in the case of admission to the intensive care unit. Treating COVID-19 symptoms will depend on the severity of the symptoms and may cost as little as 500 shillings for a prescribed painkiller to as high as 200,000 shillings for a clinical drug like tocilizumab, or 41,000 shillings per vial for the FDA-approved COVID-19 remdesivir. Other drugs used are mouth gargles, steroids, blood thinners, and blood pressure stabilizers.
The levels of hospitalization are largely determined by the severity of the disease. So, by and large, we have about 4 categories of patients.
The first category of patients is asymptomatic, which means that they don't have any symptoms of the illness but test positive for COVID. The second category have mild to moderate symptoms, meaning they have slight side effects like a low-grade fever or muscle aches. According to the Ministry of Health, it costs approximately 2,000 shillings per day to treat asymptomatic patients and those with mild COVID symptoms under home-based care. For treatment at an isolation center or hospital, it will cost an asymptomatic patient or one with mild symptoms an average of 6,700 shillings per day. This will cater for accommodation and overheads. The third category of patients are those with severe symptoms, meaning they have difficulty breathing with oxygen levels below 90. The fourth category are those with critical illness who require admission in the intensive care unit.
For these ones, they require oxygen since they are critical and unable to reach optimal levels of oxygen in their blood. So they require supplemental oxygen. Usually they're given high flows of oxygen, okay? And then they're put on blood thinners to reduce the rate of formation of blood clots.
On the other hand, it cost 13,137 shillings to manage patients with severe COVID-19 symptoms in general hospital wards and 63,243 shillings for those with critical COVID-19 symptoms admitted in intensive care per day. Apart from the cost of treatment, hospitals require an admission fee, which is usually taken as a deposit. Admission at the Aga Khan University Hospital cost 300,000 shillings for the general ward and 1 million shillings for the HDU or ICU. At Nairobi Hospital, you will have to fork out 100,000 shillings to be admitted at the general ward and 150,000 shillings for a private room. Avenue Hospital charge 100,000 shillings for the general ward and 250,000 shillings for HDU. Patients who check into Karen Hospital need 300,000 shillings to be admitted in the general ward, while those that need critical care are charged 500,000 shillings. At the Mata Hospital, admission fees in the general ward cost 100,000 shillings, while HDU and ICU cost 600,000 shillings. Nairobi West Hospital charges 200,000 shillings for the general ward and 300,000 shillings for HDU.
By 2020, only 15.8% of Kenya's population was covered under NHIF. This leaves over 80% of the population, mostly in the informal sector, without any form of medical cover. With this in mind, we take a look at two COVID-19 patients, one who had insurance and one who did not. You're watching Moolah Insider. Please remember to watch our previous episodes on www.moolah.co.ke. In pursuits this week, Brian Babu is our star. We look at how he started styling business as a hobby, but has ended up to be one of the top celebrity stylists in Kenya.
My name is Brian Babu. I am a celebrity stylist based in Nairobi, Kenya. I basically style personalities, artists, commercials, and different campaigns for different things. I'm a trained financial economist. My mom owned a tailoring shop a while back when we were kids. So that's where I sort of picked up a lot to do with fashion and outfits and clothes. And also it sort of worked on my tastes for everything. I used to be just a lover of fashion. I used to put together outfits for my family members and my friends. And I really didn't think it was an actual job. I thought it was just like something, and I thought stylists were I don't know what I thought stylists were. But then one day, as I was doing the thing, guys were like, oh, this is good. So you're like a stylist, you put stuff together. I'm like, yeah, I guess that is what I am. Yeah, then I wrote to Sunny DOLAT, who is like who's still a very big stylist today. And like to help him on a project and stuff like that. Then, yeah, alas, here we are. I think working with Sunny really opened me up to various things and to understand a lot about just how to be a stylist, you know. I had to learn pricing. I had to learn that when you are a stylist, you're not going to be a millionaire that easily. So it opened my eyes to very many things in terms of just how the business works. And then it helped me sort of figure out what I want to do eventually, if it was really style, because it's like, this is a passion, But I wanted to do it as a job, but then at some point I was just like, this is looking like tricks. So I sort of found my footing after my discussion with Sani and like working with him for like a couple of shoots, because Sani didn't like really get me into an internship. He got me straight into a job and we were working with him. And then I was learning on the job as we were going. My very first paying gig, I think, was in 2011. And these guys, their brother had died and they just didn't know what to do and what to buy. So I took them shopping for a suit for the corpse. I remember it was a navy blue suit and a blue or white shirt with the tie had stripes and a pocket square. And I also bought them socks together with that. And the pay was, I think, 1,000 or 2,000 bob. You are a stylist. What is that? So you want to tell me like people cannot even dress themselves? You have to dress them. What do you mean you're dressing people for a living? It took a while. It really took time for people to sort of pick up what that is. There are people who major in dressing artists. There are people who major in being wardrobe stylists who just do TV commercials and all that. There are people whose work is editorial work, like they style for magazines and online platforms. Very editorial, very, a bit on the edgier side. Then there are people who costume design for films and all that. So I've done a bit. And then there are also personal shoppers who are also stylists. So I've done a bit of everything. At some point, I was doing a bit of everything, but now I'm mostly focused on doing personalities and entertainment styling, which is gives me a bit more leeway in terms of creativity. But once in a while, I'll do a commercial here, a commercial there, depending on what the project needs me to do. A lot. Sometimes the weather, the event, current affairs, like the way the world is going, trends, culture. I try as much as possible to draw a bit from culture. And I sort of have, and also Western influence also comes in my work. So my work is it's a very huge cocktail of everything. It actually depends on what the client wants. Sometimes there are people who want one-offs. Sometimes there are people who just want photo shoots. Sometimes there are people who want to engage you long-term. So it really varies. So we sort of have a discussion on what you want me to execute, how long we have, and which direction you're looking at. Per look would range from maybe $50 to $100, maybe, depending on what we're doing. Photo shoots are from $200 going upwards. I think it's a lot to do with access. You need to be able to access the kind of clients you want. You need to be able to access the kind of clothes you want, the kind of pieces you want. You also need to be very good at working with people, talking to people, listening. I think a big part also is listening, because you also need to listen to be able to understand. You need to listen to be able to know and even listen to criticism. I know people don't like that, but you need to be able to listen to everything.
We now take a look at the leading indicators, and we start with our stocks and the foreign exchange. Let's now have a look at the basic commodity prices this week. Our word of the week is deductible. This is the amount of money you must pay each year to cover your medical care expenses before your health insurance policy starts paying. That's all we had for you this week on Moolah Insider. Please remember to log on to www.moolah.co.ke for these and more stories. See you next week.